Welcome to Life Stories, where each narrative unveils the depth of the human spirit. Today, I invite you to join me on a journey of betrayal, healing, and ultimate renewal. This is the story of Michael Anderson, a man whose life was turned upside down by loss and deception, only to find strength in the midst of adversity. Through heartbreak and courage, he rebuilt a new future for himself and his children, discovering that every ending is simply the start of something new. Please subscribe to our channel to start today's story and follow the extraordinary path of redemption and hope. I still remember the exact moment when my world shattered. It was a crisp autumn morning in Chicago, a city of towering ambitions and hidden secrets. I, Michael Anderson, had just begun an important business presentation in a gleaming boardroom where every detail of my proposal for restructuring investments was meticulously laid out. The room was filled with quiet confidence from the executives, each nodding at my projections, until the silence was punctured by the insistent vibration of my phone. Initially, I ignored it. I thought it was nothing more than an errant alert. But then it buzzed again. A third time. A signal that something was terribly wrong. Curiosity and dread mingled as I glanced at the screen. A series of missed calls from Oakwood Elementary. My heart pounded as I excused myself, stepping into the hushed corridor. There, in a trembling conversation with Principal Davis, I learned the unthinkable. My wife, Rachel Thompson, had not picked up our children for 3 agonizing days. I couldn't comprehend it. How could the woman I had loved, the partner I trusted, simply vanish from our lives without explanation? I tried to explain that I was in the middle of an important meeting in Chicago, but the cold, clinical tone of the principal's words left no room for excuses. As I drove through the city, every red light felt like a stop sign on my heart. I replayed every conversation, every smile, every shared dream with Rachel, wondering when everything had begun to unravel. In those long, bleak minutes on the road, a sense of foreboding settled over me, a premonition that this was more than just a temporary misunderstanding. When I attempted to call Rachel, my phone offered only an endless loop of voicemail. The silence that followed was more deafening than any shout. Arriving at our modest suburban home in Napa Valley, I was greeted not by the laughter of my children, Ryan and Chloe, but by an eerie stillness. The house, which once brimmed with the warmth of our family's love, now seemed like a mausoleum of broken promises. I scoured every room searching for clues. Overturned cushions, a forgotten scarf, the remnants of a hurried departure. Then, my eyes fell upon a small envelope taped to the living room wall. A note from Rachel. In her elegant, flowing script, it hinted at years of inner turmoil and whispered of liberation from a life that had grown suffocating. She spoke of needing to escape, to breathe, and, most painfully, of leaving behind the responsibilities that had once united us. The shock was profound. I was a man who had dedicated himself to building a secure future for our family, a future founded on mutual respect and shared dreams. Yet, in the space of a few days, everything crumbled. I felt betrayed not only by her actions, but by the silent erosion of trust that had taken root over countless late nights, endless discussions, and unspoken resentments that I had ignored in the name of love. The financial documents I later discovered painted a picture of calculated deceit. Rachel had been slowly draining our joint account, leaving me not only emotionally bankrupt but financially ruined. In that moment of bitter realization, I stood amidst the ruins of a life I thought we had built together. It wasn't merely the loss of a partner, it was the loss of the home we had envisioned, the future we had planned, and the innocence of our children's trust. I felt an overwhelming mixture of sorrow, anger, and a deep, aching loneliness that whispered questions about the nature of love and loyalty. How could someone I had loved so deeply choose to walk away? And yet, as I stared at the silence in the empty rooms, I began to understand that sometimes betrayal cuts deeper than any failure of love. It forces you to confront the vulnerabilities within yourself and to rediscover the strength you never knew you possessed. That day marked the beginning of a painful journey, a journey where I would learn that love, in its purest form, sometimes means facing the most profound betrayals and emerging, not unscathed, but wiser and more compassionate for all the suffering endured. The shock of betrayal gradually transformed into a burning resolve for justice. As I stood amidst the wreckage of my former life, a quiet determination took root. I knew that allowing this injustice to stand would not only rob me of my future, but it would also condemn my children, Ryan and Chloe, to a lifetime shadowed by abandonment. I resolved then I would dismantle every deceitful element of Rachel's plan and ensure that those responsible faced the consequences. I began by retracing every step of the deception. I assembled a team of trusted allies, a network of friends and professionals who had stood by me through the highs and lows of my career. Daniel Miller, a seasoned investigator with a knack for digital forensics, joined me alongside Dr. Parker, whose compassionate yet unflinching nature had seen me through my darkest moments, and Elizabeth, a sharp-witted attorney known for her unyielding pursuit of justice. With their help, I set up a robust digital tracking system. Every call, every email, every transaction became a clue in our meticulous investigation. Late one restless night, as the clock neared 3:17 a.m., my security system finally alerted me to a breach, a digital attempt to access my remaining financial accounts. The intrusion was sophisticated, but ultimately futile, thwarted by the countermeasures we had installed. That moment served as a harsh reminder Rachel had not acted alone. Her lover, Chase Bennett, was implicated, and every digital footprint led back to a larger, more sinister scheme of fraud and money laundering. Our investigation peeled back layers of carefully concealed financial records and personal correspondence. I uncovered a trail of forged documents, clandestine transfers, and chilling video messages, each piece of evidence revealing the cold precision with which Rachel and Chase had orchestrated their escape. The more I uncovered, the more I realized that this was not an impulsive act of passion, but a calculated dismantling of our shared life. They had engineered a situation to not only seize my assets, but also to leave me emotionally and financially isolated. The tension reached its zenith during a confrontation at a secluded estate in Napa Valley. The estate, draped in an eerie silence, served as the stage for a high-stakes showdown. Supported by my team, I forced a legal and personal confrontation where the evidence was laid bare for all to see. The moment was surreal. Standing in the midst of the opulent surroundings, I watched as Rachel was compelled to relinquish her parental rights, her eyes reflecting a mixture of defiance and despair. Meanwhile, Chase Bennett found himself cornered by the weight of incontrovertible evidence, facing arrest and prosecution across several jurisdictions. Every step of this pursuit was fraught with heartache and painstaking vigilance, yet it also awakened a strength within me I hadn't known existed. It was not just about reclaiming what had been stolen, but about restoring dignity for my children and for myself. With each new piece of evidence secured and every legal motion filed, I could feel the chains of betrayal loosening, replaced by an unwavering resolve to build a future free from the toxic remnants of our past. That night, as I sat alone in my study surrounded by the remnants of shattered trust, I vowed that I would see this through, not just for me, but for Ryan and Chloe. Justice was not an abstract ideal. It was a tangible promise I intended to fulfill, regardless of the cost. In the aftermath of the devastating confrontation, a quiet resolve to rebuild slowly emerged from the wreckage. I knew that in order to truly honor the promise I made to Ryan and Chloe, I had to forge a new life, not one defined by loss and betrayal, but by healing, growth, and hope. The legal battle had ended with Rachel and Chase facing severe consequences, yet the scars remained. My heart ached with the memories of abandonment, and every step forward felt both liberating and laden with grief. We moved to a new home in a peaceful American town where the rhythms of everyday life, rustling leaves, friendly neighbors, and warm community gatherings, slowly began to mend our wounded souls. I immersed myself in rebuilding a sanctuary for my children and me. Each morning, as the first light crept through our modest windows, I would remind myself that we were starting over. I began every day with a quiet meditation in the backyard, feeling the earth under my feet and drawing strength from nature's resilience. Ryan, who had once been a quiet, withdrawn boy, started to come alive again. With every challenge he met at school, whether it was joining the chess club or excelling in his advanced math classes, I saw the spark of his former self reignite. I watched with pride as he became more confident, his analytical mind finding solace in the structured world of strategy and numbers. His triumphs, small yet significant, were like gentle reminders that adversity could be transformed into opportunity. Chloe, on the other hand, embraced her creative spirit. Art became her language for processing the unspoken emotions that still haunted our nights. I spent afternoons with her in the living room, our hands smudged with paint, as she brought to life the colors of her inner world. With each brushstroke, she reclaimed a piece of her innocence, turning sorrow into beauty. Through her evolving art, I saw her gradually letting go of the past and embracing a future where joy could still exist. I too found solace in unexpected places. The pain of betrayal had taught me that vulnerability was not a weakness, but a path to authenticity. I started channeling my energy into founding an organization dedicated to helping families navigate the aftermath of abandonment. Working alongside Elizabeth, Daniel, and Dr. Parker, I learned that my experience could serve as a beacon of hope for others facing similar challenges. The support network we built together provided legal advocacy, financial guidance, and emotional healing, a testament to the idea that from the darkest moments, profound growth can emerge. In quiet evenings, as I tucked Ryan and Chloe into bed, we would share stories of our day, our laughter mingling with tears of remembrance. I saw in their eyes a budding resilience that filled me with both pride and a deep sense of responsibility. Though the wounds of our past were not entirely gone, they had softened, becoming a part of our narrative, a reminder of how far we had come. As the seasons changed, so did we. Our new life was not perfect, but it was honest, grounded in the belief that healing takes time and that every small victory was a step towards a brighter future. I learned that love, empathy, and resilience are the truest forms of strength, a lesson I carried with me every day as we reclaimed our future together. In the end, our journey taught me that even the deepest betrayals can give way to healing, and every shattered piece of our past can be rebuilt into something enduring and beautiful. Despite the chaos and pain that once defined our lives, my children and I emerged stronger, united by a shared resilience that transformed our wounds into wisdom. We learned that love is not about clinging to what once was, but about embracing the promise of what can be, a future where empathy, compassion, and unwavering support light our way. Each day, we build a new chapter, cherishing small victories and the gentle moments of peace that remind us we have the power to reclaim our lives. Today, as I watch Ryan dive into his academic pursuits and Chloe express her soul through art, I know that the scars of our past do not diminish our hope. They serve as powerful reminders of our journey, marking the steps from despair to renewal. I have also dedicated my heart and resources to helping other families find their own paths to recovery through the foundation I built. In this shared mission, I discovered that our most profound struggles can be transformed into the strength that binds us together. Thank you for joining me on this emotional and transformative journey, a story of loss, recovery, and ultimately, rebirth. If you found inspiration in our story, please subscribe to our channel to follow new videos of life stories, where we continue to explore the beautiful, sometimes challenging tapestry of human life. Your support means the world to us, and together, we can turn every setback into a stepping stone toward a brighter tomorrow.